गगन गगन गर जाट करे घुमरी घुमरी गर जाट भरे जी 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 रे हाँ भूम में जरूर है मेरा ही सुरूर है आँखों में गुरूर है ख्वाब का कसूर है
Namaste. Welcome. Let's give another big round of applause to our wonderful performers. For those that don't know me, I'm Glenn Coleman, Chief Operating Officer and Executive Sponsor for today's wonderful event, our first ever Indian American Affinity Group, being held on the Diwali, Festival of Lights, celebration of a new year. So really exciting day. Many, many wonderful colors throughout the room. I tried to partake as well with my new wardrobe here. And also growing a beard for the Diwali. So looking forward to the next 90 minutes. We have a really exciting program. I'm just going to kick things off with just a couple introductory remarks, and then we'll move to the rest of the agenda. I want to first hit on the importance of diversity and inclusion within our company. It's a strategic priority for us, a platinum priority. And it's proven that a workplace that has gender diversity with different ethnic backgrounds, religions, work experiences, and culture translates to high-performance teams and leads to higher business performance. A diverse and inclusive organization creates a much broader view of the range of ideas and outcomes that businesses deal with each and every day in helping to solve business problems and driving innovation throughout an organization. These types of affinity groups that we formed and their initiatives are important to the success of both our company and all of our employees. And so we're here today to kick off Integra's Indian American Affinity Group as part of our diversity and inclusion initiative. As many of you know, we've kicked off other initiatives in the company that have done really, really well. The Women's of Integra Network, or WIN organization, has already created 17 local active chapters. So really great progress across the board. The African American Affinity Group, making great strides. And today we've now formed our first ever Indian American Affinity Group here. And it's nice to kick off this wonderful event during the holiday of the Diwali. Diwali is known as the Festival of Lights or celebration of the New Year. As many of you know, India is a highly diverse country within itself, has a large variety of traditions, customs, languages, cuisines, and beliefs. And while Diwali is not celebrated the same way in all parts of India, the timing is good as today is the final day, day 5 of the Diwali. I want to give you just some statistics on the impact that Indian Americans have had on the United States and our workforce. Today, there's about 3.5 million Indian Americans living in the United States. They're the fastest growing ethnic group with about 80% growth in the past decade. Over 30% of Fortune 500 companies have Indian CEOs. And you may have heard a couple of those, Google, Microsoft, to name 2. And 33% of immigrant-founded companies in the US have Indian founders, more than all other minority ethnic groups. Just these few statistics alone should give you an idea of the impact from Indian Americans in our country's workforce and can correlate directly to the value proposition from our Indian American employees here at Integra. Just a few other fun facts as I was researching India this past week in anticipation of this celebration today. India is the largest successful democracy in the world, second largest by population with close to 1.4 billion people, 7th largest by country size, has greater linguistic diversity of any other country in the world. There's 23 official languages with over 1,000 dialects. India is also the second largest English-speaking country in the world, with about 130 million people that speak English, only behind the United States. There's at least 9 recognized religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, to name a couple. Hinduism is about half of the country overall, but many, many different religions. And a fact I thought was pretty fascinating, about half the population in India is under the age of 25 years old, so a very young population. Today's kickoff event will include a variety of aspects to promote the Indian culture. You saw some of that earlier today. We have 3 dances planned in total, representing different India regions and different styles. We've got a number of exhibitions and posters throughout the room, outside this room. We're going to have our keynote speaker, Serena Jain, talk about her success in her business venture as an Indian American. And then we'll wrap up with some traditional art form that gets used during the Diwali, called the Rangoli, which you see on the side tables here. We're going to have a fun, collaborative teamwork exercise at the end. And then, of course, no event would be complete without tasting some very good Indian food. So when we're finished with the formal program, we're going to go outside. Hopefully you didn't eat too much at lunch. Going to enjoy some very good Indian cuisine. So before I move to the next part of the agenda, I wanted to ask a couple individuals to stand, please. Purvi Day, Jyoti Varma, and Priyanka Shah. Their efforts this past couple of months have been tremendous to make this event happen. Obviously, as an executive sponsor, I don't do much other than say I'm sponsoring it. These 3 ladies did all the work. You're going to see a wonderful agenda here for the next 90 minutes. It takes months of effort to plan an event like this. I think you're going to find it very, very fun. So thank you for all your efforts, ladies. So just a couple final closing remarks. If you're interested in joining up for the Indian American Affinity Group, there's tables in the back. We encourage everybody to participate. Hopefully, can create a number of local chapters as well. We already, I think, have one that we set up before this bigger, broader meeting, so that's exciting. Enjoy the program. Try your hand at the colorful Rangoli during the exercises later on today. Have some food. And happy Diwali. So thank you. With that, Purvi.
Thank you, Glenn. Welcome. Wow, what a turnout. Thank you all for joining us as we launch our Integra Indian American Affinity Group. Our goal for this event is to share a taste of our culture through a variety of different ways that you will see in today's program, whether it be through music, dance styles, clothing, food, Rangoli, or pictures and posters. Diwali, the holiday we are featuring as part of our today's kickoff event, is a 5-day celebration with a series of festivals that are celebrated throughout the 5 days, every autumn. Diwali symbolizes lightness over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. It's the most commonly referred to as the Festival of Lights. Even though Diwali is not celebrated by all Indians, it has become more prominent in the US. In fact, some of the school districts right here in New Jersey close to observe Diwali. For Diwali, most families light diyas, which are candles, around their homes, visit the temple to worship Goddess Lakshmi, which is the goddess of wealth, dress up in Indian attire, get together with their families to celebrate and have a huge Indian feast, and end the night with bright fireworks. Some also create Rangoli, which you will all have a chance to participate in later today, as Glenn mentioned. Rangoli is an Indian form of art. It's similar to a color by design pattern, and during our afternoon you can take a look at it, which will be done using colored powder or colored rice. For today's event, we're going to use colored rice. Rangoli is usually put outside one's home or in their house at the entrance as decorations to welcome people. Also, the wonderful dance you just saw, the Garba, is usually also performed around this time of the year and all the days leading up to Diwali. This type of style of dance is very popular and performed in some of the larger event halls, such as the New Jersey Expo Center in Raritan, the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and also large school gymnasiums. You all just heard from Glenn on some of the items you'll be seeing throughout our 90-minute program, but I wanted to share a little bit more detail. In addition to the dance you just saw, you will see 2 other dances that are very different in their styles and music to give you some idea of how diverse India really is. You will hear from our guest speaker, Serena Jain, as she shares her story with us. For the last half hour of our program, we will move to an open forum where you will get a chance to participate in the Rangoli making activity and experience the tradition firsthand. During the open forum, we will have a slideshow playing featuring different aspects of the India culture, many pictures taken in the country of India itself. Feel free to walk around the room and hallway to see the various posters, facts about India, and try some of our food. There will be about 5 to 6 different finger foods out in the hallway where you will get to try the Indian fusion food. This is a mix between our Western and Indian culture. Lastly, for those of you who are interested in joining and getting more involved in the Indian American Affinity Group, there's a membership table at the back where you can sign up, where Danielle is standing, and feel free to contact myself, Jyoti Verma, or Priyanka Shah if you're interested. Thank you and happy Diwali. Now, I would like to introduce Abigail Epine Aswala, VP of CSS HR and Head of Diversity and Inclusion, to share a little more about the initiative.
Thank you, Purvi. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Serena. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Serena. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Serena. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Serena. Thank you, Glenn. 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 Thank you, Namaste. Feels like 20 years since I used those words back in my franchise years, so I love it. Good afternoon, everyone, and I just want to say on behalf of Lisa Everly, our Chief HRO, Chief Human Resources Officer, I would like to start by saying thank you to Purvi, to Jyoti, to Priyanka, for really spearheading and planning such an amazing event. So thank you again. I know Glenn thanks you. I also want to just say a special shout out or thank you to Danielle on the HR team, Danielle Piccolini on the team for working very closely with all of you. You know, starting a resource group might seem very simple. I know the three of you have done so much work putting all of this together, but from an HR perspective, making sure that all the elements that are necessary to be part of it and the right sponsors, et cetera, and I know Danielle did a ton of work working with all of you to make that happen. So Danielle, wherever you are, thank you. What a way to introduce our newest employee resource group, Integra's Indian American Affinity Group. As you all know, as Glenn mentioned, diversity and inclusion is a key part of our company's strategy. One of the pillars that has been very near and dear to my heart and Pete's and Lisa's and all the executive leadership team is really how do we continue to create the awareness around diversity and inclusion. We know there's so much work to be done, but how do we start grassroots efforts within the company where our colleagues feel truly engaged and be part of the process? Because diversity is not me owning it or the leadership, it's all of us owning it. And so to see the work of our colleagues, the three of you, really stepping out to pull this together is commendable, and I hope you know that, so thanks again. I am pleased to say, though, that with all the efforts going on around the world, we've made significant progress as it relates to employee resource groups. There's been just so much work, which I'm sure you'll hear about in different settings and meetings that are coming up soon. But just so you guys know, there's so much more that we can do and so much more to come. And as colleagues, as you're thinking about how can I participate, how can I create, hopefully you use Purvi, Priyanka, and Jyoti as an example, and others like the African American Affinity Group that was also created as an example to push you to want to do something different. I know Lisa couldn't join us in person today, but I know she did want to say a few words to all of you. So if we can play her video, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be physically with you today, but I wanted to share my sincerest congratulations to the Indian American Affinity Group for the launch of our newest employee resource group. As you've heard many times from us, diversity and inclusion efforts make our company stronger and are critical to our long-term success. Inclusion is about creating a culture where employees feel welcomed and valued and promote differences and unique experiences amongst our people. We want ideas to be heard and leveraged and to advance the priorities of our company. And these employee resources groups are key to our efforts as employees come together to help build a culture of awareness and inclusiveness. The sharing of different cultural experiences helps us to see and understand one another more meaningfully in the workplace. The launch of this resource group is quite timely as the Indian culture celebrates Diwali, the festival of lights, and symbolic of wealth and prosperity. I hope you are as excited as I am to see these programs grow and expand and to have new ones rolled out. By working together on this common purpose, we'll be able to make diversity and inclusion a core part of our DNA at Integra. It's a great time to be at Integra and to be a part of these cultural advances we are making. A special thank you to Purvi Day and Jyoti Varma for leading the creation of this affinity group and organizing today's efforts. Thank you for your participation and enjoy the wonderful food and traditions today.
Namaste, everyone. Happy Diwali. I've had the opportunity to meet many of you, but for those who I've not, I'm Jyoti Varma. I've been with Integra Corporate Finance for just over 8 years. As Abby mentioned, Lisa would have liked to be here in person, but I'm glad we were able to see her video message. Our second dance is coming up next, and I want to give you a bit of background. First, on the performers. Kruti, Ria, and Kinjal are dance instructors at the Sanskriti School of Dance. They teach mostly in Matawan, New Jersey, but also in Philadelphia, South Brunswick, and Edison. Their skills are across many styles of dance, with the next one being one of the classical form. Dance is a large part of Indian culture, and today we have selected 3 different dance styles to show you. The opening item was a folk dance. Classical, which we'll see next, has a variety of styles in itself. Many of you would have heard of Bharatanatyam or Odissi as examples. Most Indian classical dance styles come from South India, but today we're going to see the one classical form that actually comes from North India called Kathak. Classical dancing requires a high degree of intricacy, dedication, and intensity. Kathak itself is known for its expressiveness, foot movements, and spins. You will now be able to see it live.
नैनों वाले ने छेड़ा मन का प्याला Namaste Integra and Happy Diwali. What a beautiful and graceful Kathak performance by the Sanskriti dance group. Let's give them one more round of applause. I've had the pleasure of working with many of you, and for those of you who I have not, my name is Priyanka Shah, and I've been with Integra for 4 years. It is with pleasure that I introduce our keynote speaker for today's historic kickoff and Diwali celebration, who has a very special story to share with each of you. Coined as the Indian Jain Fonda, Serena Jain is founder and CEO of Masala Dance and Fitness. She has grown to be recognized as a global game changer in the fitness industry. Celebrating her 20th year in business, Serena Jain now has over 15 workout videos under her belt, with Masala Bhangra classes offered in over 15 countries by over 250 trained instructors globally. She's been heralded in the press globally with appearances on The Today Show, ABC News, American Fitness Magazine, and Glamour Magazine, to name a few. At Integra, each one of us plays a role in helping to deliver products that help patients live more active and healthier lives globally. Similarly, Serena also helps her customer base develop a more active and healthier lifestyle through her work. She successfully moves, touches, and inspires people around the world with her knowledge and passion for Bhangra and Bollywood. Like me, she proudly embraces her South Asian heritage and is an active member of the Indian American community. Please join me in welcoming Serena to the stage.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Namaste. I have to admit, I'm very nervous right now. All of a sudden, my heart just flickered really, really fast. So I've probably spoken at many different events throughout my career, and I still get very nervous. So forgive me if I stutter or forget some words, or something or the other. But thank you very much for being here. It's very nice to see such a diverse group today. My name is Serena Jain. It's an honor to be here as your keynote speaker. I want to give a special shout out to the COO and the CEO for being here today, as well as a special shout out to the organizing committee that put this event together. It takes a lot of work. So once again, just give them a round of applause, please. I also want to give a shout out to all of those that are physically not here but chiming in via the web. You may not be here, but I hope you enjoy this. So thank you. I'm very excited to be a part of the inaugural event for Integra's Indian American Affinity Group. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I met Priyanka Shah a few years ago at a Young Jains professional event, and when she heard my story, she asked me to come and share it with you all today. I'm an Indian American, and I'm proud of my heritage and culture. My parents migrated to the US in the late 70s for a better life and for better opportunities. Here's my mom and dad. At that time, they were very proud to be Indian, and they were very proud to embrace their culture at a time when the Indian culture was not as recognized in this country. Both my parents were proud to be Indian. My father was a civil engineer for the county of Riverside in California, as well as my mom was a homemaker for the first few years. And then she decided to go on and get her degree in computer science, becoming a computer consultant. Both my parents were equally proud to become US citizens, immediately coming to this country in the 70s, making California their permanent resident, where both my sister and I were born and raised. I do miss California from time to time. India itself is a very diverse country, as you've heard throughout all of the speeches that have been given today. Many differences from region to region. There are over 1 billion people in India, 1,000 dialects spoken throughout the country. Food, clothing, customs, and language differ from north to south, east and west. My dad always wanted to make sure that my sister and I would be proud to be Indian living in the United States. He would always send us back home to India to see our family, to visit our grandparents, making sure we knew who they were. He also made it really important to make sure that we speak in Hindi, our native tongue language, and continuously educating us on what our culture was all about. For example, saying namaste to somebody older, like an auntie or uncle, was very important. In the Indian culture, all elders, including friends and acquaintances, were addressed as uncle and auntie versus Mr. and Mrs. It was just a sign of respect in our culture. Growing up in our household, Indian food was mostly cooked. My mom would spend a lot of time in the kitchen cooking food, and we hung out with my mom in the kitchen a lot, watching her make roti, palak paneer, dal. I'm sure some of these dishes sound familiar to you if you've gone to an Indian restaurant. Kind of makes me a little hungry at the moment. I can't wait to have the food outside. My sister and I hung out with like-minded Indians. We went to the Jain temple every other Sunday, and we participated in almost all South Asian activities our community had to offer. For each of us, our upbringing and experiences growing up can play a huge role in shaping who we are today. During high school, I wasn't sure what people would think of me, if they would know what India is or where India comes from. I remember, when we go home to India, we would speak in our language as well as the accent. Sometimes I had to speak in the accent because this was the only way that my family would understand what I'm saying. Instead of, in high school, people would be like, yo, Serena, what's up, Serena? How's it going, Serena? Certainly a cultural difference for sure. My sister and I had to embrace the East with the West and make the best of it. We participated in almost all Diwali events that took place, from fashion shows, dance competitions, you name it, we did it. In fact, around this time, Ras Garba was very popular, and we were at almost every Ras Garba happening in California. In the weekends, we would hang out with our friends. You got to see a traditional Garba dance today as part of today's opening act. My dad and mom came to all of our events that my sister and I participated. They were very proud of us, and we were a very, very close-knit family. On the flip side, I took to aerobics like there was no tomorrow. I loved working out. And I was at almost every aerobic class that there was at 24 Hour Fitness and the local gym that was literally down the street. A lady came up to me afterwards one day and said, would you like to teach aerobics? And I said, yeah, sounds great. That's awesome. It's right up my alley. I love it. Within 6 months, I took to it. It was like, wow, I didn't even know I could do this. She taught me how to teach. And it was so amazing because I was now getting paid to exercise, as well as I was getting people up and moving to exercise and feeling great. That to me was awesome. Life was good as a young teenager. I was rolling in style and everything was perfect. Until one day my life changed. I might get a little emotional on you. On November 20th, 1994, it was a Sunday morning, and my mom, she called to tell me that my dad wasn't breathing anymore. At first, I couldn't comprehend what she meant. I stayed the night at a friend's house, and I immediately jumped in the car and drove straight to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, it seemed like word spread like fire. The entire Indian community was at the hospital. My parents were super involved in the community. To us, the Indian community, the aunties and uncles, were like an extended, large family. They became part of our worlds, very supportive, very inclusive, very resourceful. We were each other's families, especially in this country when we're so far away from our home. I pushed past all the aunties and uncles, and I finally got to see my mom. Her face looked like a ghost. She looked so confused, and my heart went out to her. She looked down at my dad that day. Can you imagine? Sorry. That day we lost my father to a massive cardiac arrest at the age of 47. This was 25 years ago. I still get emotional about it. My mom was 40 years old. Can you imagine that? A 40-year-old woman, a woman of color in this country with 2 young kids, staring down at her husband, wondering what is she going to do now? Our lives had changed forever. After a few months of processing what just happened, I couldn't help but think, could my dad have come to my aerobic classes? Could he have worked out a little bit more? Could he have gone to the gym just maybe one more time? Would that have made a difference in his life? That's when it dawned on me that I need to do something about this. I kept thinking that I have to come up with a way for my aunties and uncles to get up and move so something like this doesn't happen again. When I read that according to the CDC, 3 out of 10 doctors in the US are Indian. 3 out of 10 doctors in the US are Indian, and yet we have the lowest rate in physical activity. That is what got me. I wanted to be a part of changing this statistic. Somehow at a young age, I knew that staying active and fit throughout life was the best way to a longer life. So I took my aerobic background and I combined it with my Indian culture and created Masala Bhangra. For those of you who don't know what that means, let me tell you. Masala in Hindi means spicy, and Bhangra is the folk dance for the north part of India. Punjab, India. In fact, later on you're going to see a Bhangra dance from Punjab, India. I was so excited to come up with this Indian dance program that I knew my Indian uncles and aunties would get up and move. I mean, come on, if they heard their music for hours, they would be moving for hours, right? They would get up and move automatically. I took all of 1999 to put this program together, and I even shot my first workout video. In 2000, I taught my first class. I was given the opportunity to teach Masala Bhangra at Sports Club LA in Los Angeles. I was so grateful for the manager to say yes when everyone else said no. He gave me my first opportunity to teach my class, and I just kept thinking, all right, Dad, this one's for you. I swear I'm going to get everybody up and moving Indian style. Every auntie and uncle, I wanted them to show up. This class was free. I figured everyone would be there. I started to introduce myself, and I noticed that there were only so many aunties and uncles there, and everyone else that showed up, which about 50 people in the room, are all other cultures. I remember my manager telling me, it's okay to keep going, that these people are here for you and they want to try something new. So I got into my groove. I started teaching my class. And by the end of 60 minutes, after a long time, it was one of the best moments of my life. Everyone came up to me. They were sweating. They were drenched. I mean, I took all of 1999 to put this program together just for this one day to launch my class. They all came up to me afterwards like I was a rock pop star. Like, oh my God, this was amazing. Can't wait to see you next week. It was unbelievable. I have to admit, I walked away that day just feeling slightly defeated that why didn't my aunties and uncles come? How come more of them didn't come out? Then the same thing happened the week after and week after. And well, before you know it, I had found my calling, which was to get this world up and moving Indian style. I had no idea that my hobby and love for fitness would turn out to be my full-time career. I branded Masala Bhangra, formally introduced it to the fitness world, and today, I'm proud to be celebrating 20 years of my baby being born. Can I get a woohoo? When a lot of people didn't believe this would go anywhere. In 20 years, a lot of positive events have taken place. The key was to my realization that you didn't need to be Indian to do this Indian dance workout. You could be anybody. Coming to this realization was a huge phenomena for me. This program was the start to bridging the gap for me with my American-born attitude and my Indian culture. It was my calling to bring people together via this mechanism. One of my first events that I did was in Central Park in 2004, where 5,000 people showed up for Self Magazine's Workout in the Park, ready to rock it out with the best of the best in the fitness world through Crunch Fitness. I got everybody up and moving Indian style, and they all shouted, "Bale bale!" For those of you who don't know what that means, bale bale means woohoo! It is not my name. It literally means woohoo! My name is Serena Jane. From that opportunity came many others along the way. Since I was the first to bring Indian dance to the fitness industry at a global level, I was being coined as the Jane Fonda of India. Jane Fonda revolutionized the fitness world. She made leotards and leggings look really popular with all of our workout videos. I brought Indian dance to the fitness world, where I then went on to produce 15 workout videos under my belt, as well as onboarded 250 Masala Bhangra instructors around the world, teaching this program to their local communities and making a difference. I get emotional about all of this because people didn't think it would go anywhere. And despite the loss that my family and I experienced, I still wanted to keep going. In 2005, I signed a deal with Discovery Channel to bring Masala Banga to their Fit TV. And I hosted 5 seasons of that show. In 2010, I signed a deal with Nestle Fitness cereal box for 2.6 million cereal boxes with my DVD in it. You would think I'd be a millionaire by now. This was all for Latin America. And I just loved bringing my new Indian-style dance workout in this healthy way for people to stay fit. I had the good fortune of traveling around the world to Japan, Malaysia, India, of course, Kuwait, Australia, bringing Masala Banga to them. Along the way, while so many events have taken place, it wasn't always an easy ride. I had to knock on a lot of people's doors, begging them to give me a chance. And I still sometimes feel I have to knock on people's doors to still give me a chance. But in 2009, something happened. I was invited to be on the Today Show with Hoda and Kathy Lee. I'm sure you've seen this. This is a national syndicated television show. While this is the CBS Early Show, I couldn't find a photo of the Today Show, but this gives you an idea. I was asked to come on the Today Show and talk about Masala Banga, and I was asked to talk about the years that I've been doing it and what a difference it's made to people around the world. And after that day, this is a national syndicated show. I got a lot of emails from people saying how much they enjoyed seeing me on the show, how much oh, I have your workout video. I'm so excited you were on the show. I'm so proud of you. You don't know who I am, but your workout videos have made a difference in my world. Thank you so much, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I also got a lot of emails that day that confused me. I got a lot of emails from young Indian kids born and raised in this North America, threatening to slash my throat so I don't teach Masala Banga anymore, threatening to slash my throat so I don't say bale bale anymore. Newsweek magazine did a big story on this. They were really shocked that I was experiencing such hate from people. I found this to be pretty sad. That is when I had to take a step back and rethink, why did I create Masala Banga, and go back to the root of this program. I knew in my heart I was doing nothing wrong. I was bringing Indian dance, Indian-inspired aerobics program, and the culture to people around the world to have a better life, to get them up and moving, to energize them with and wanting to live a healthier life and have their hearts become stronger. When I finally came out of my shock, I came out stronger. I came out more determined to continue. I knew that I had created a program that will change lives forever. And deep down, I know I created this program, Masala Banga, to honor my father. And to everything he told me to be proud of. His existence and everything in this country. Not only am I proud to be an Indian American, I was getting this world up and moving Indian style. Today, Masala Banga has emerged into a community and has outgrown the classic definition of a workout. It has emerged into a community where adults sign up and take classes. Adults sign up and take my workshops, all to bring positive energy into their lives, to try something new, to step out of their comfort zone with whatever may be happening in their lives. This community has become my community, and it has become like my family. So much good has happened in the last 20 years through the Masala Banga ride. I've enjoyed and learned from all the different experiences that I've met through the diverse people that have come my way. It was my mission to make sure that my dad knew I was proud to be an Indian American, and that, I think it's pretty obvious, right? I've made this my full-time career where I said I'm gonna move this world up and moving and energize them via this method of movement and dance. We draw energy from the variety of sources, and celebrations can be energizing. Today is a big celebration here at Integra. We come together to celebrate diversity and inclusion. We come together to celebrate the kickoff of Integra's new Indian American Affinity Group, and we celebrate the beauty and the uniqueness of the Indian culture. And beyond this, with many Indians around the world, we celebrate Diwali, the start of the Indian New Year. Diwali, as you've heard, is the Festival of Lights. It is the most important event that takes place for an Indian. Diwali representing several historic and religious events where good has triumphed over evil, which can serve as a great reminder that goodness and kindness go a long way with one another. In celebration, Indians clean their homes, display diyas, aka candles, light fireworks, they exchange mithais, also known as sweets, and also create rangoli. Today, many functions across Integra have the special opportunity to create a rangoli that will be on display here in Plainsboro following this event. There's much to celebrate, and with that, whether you're Indian or not, I wish each and every one of you more joy, more peace, and more dance, and everyone a very happy Diwali. Now, before I get off the stage, can I please ask you all to stand up? Oh my God, I just heard, oh my God. Please raise your hands up in the air with both arms up in the air and get ready. No, just kidding. Keep your hands up, please. Keep your hands up, please. Now, before I get off the stage, I'd like you to, in honor of my father, and to celebrate our Indian culture, and to celebrate this new affinity group, can I please get a bale bale? Bale! Thank you so much.
Thank you, Serena, for sharing your story with us. There are many similar stories to Serena's. There are many stories similar to Serena's of successful Indian Americans, with hers having a very unique outcome. For our final dance, we'll have a style that many of you would have heard of, a combination of Bhangra and Bollywood. This can be considered the pop culture style of Indian dancing. You'll see a lot of eye-catching and energetic movements, fast beats, and all around a fun dance to watch before Pete's closing remarks.
मुझे तेरा वाला डांस देखूं तो मैं कैसा है ये तेरा वाला डांस
So for those of you out there that had it on your bucket list to get invited to an Indian wedding someday, you know, if you need some white guy to come to, this is like, I can see why in people's bucket list, the funnest event they've ever been to is a 3-day Indian wedding. What a really nice event, and another round of applause for the dancers. And Serena, thank you so much for your words. You can feel your father's presence in the room. So God bless. Very, very nice. I'll just say a few words. I want to just kind of emphasize some of the points that have already been made. Obviously, you heard from Glenn, at least on the video, and Abby, as well as our sponsors, about the focus on diversity and inclusion. Great efforts. I want to applaud the team that's brought the group together with Jyoti and Purvi and Priyanka. If you guys would stand up again, Priyanka, it would be great. A lot of work. And they all have day jobs, and I know they're quite busy because I've been giving them work to all of them. So thank you for that. And again, just to emphasize why these components are so important for us, again, if you think about us as an organization, some of the stats that Glenn went through about how the world is changing. I think about us just as a company. I mean, we had no one in Japan or China just a few years ago. Now we talk of them as two of our fastest growing markets. Hopefully India will be for us one day soon. My point being, though, is with the changing complexion, the componentry of our company, and how we interface with different cultures around the world, it's so important that we leverage our diversity and capabilities, particularly from two aspects, which I always see as so important is, when you have a diverse group, you may not always agree on everything, but you come up with more creative ideas. If you can then, secondly, create a group that actually creates inclusiveness, saying, hey, Jyoti, that was a crazy idea, but tell me a little bit more about it, and actually bring it into discussion, you always come up with a better answer. The key is the trick of how to do those. And it starts with, in many cases, about creating an environment where, you know, we respect each other and we see the differences. And I was sitting here and I was thinking about, I actually have an own personal family cultural event that I'm going to actually at the end of this week. And they sit here and say, there's so many cool things I don't know about the Indian culture. And I've had the luck in my career early to spend a month traveling through India at different events as I've seen the country change. But many things seem foreign, and that's one of the great things from all of our perspective is to learn about each other. But so much is the same. And I think, you know, when I go back to stuff, I think about the 5 F's for all of us, which is family, however we define it, is across the board in all of our cultures. Our friends and how we bring them into our lives that can help us make a difference. Our food, which I'm holding you up from tasting probably some of the most fantastic food. Our faith, however we define it, and the fun that we have together, whether you're at work or with your family, finding ways to have fun and come together is what makes life special. And I think it's a great kickoff to Diwali for our Indian American colleagues, and really for all of us that aren't, that now are longing to come to an Indian wedding someday and experience all the fun that is broad in Indian culture. Thank you for this, and looking forward to some of the fun festivities here the rest of the afternoon. Thank you. Nice job, everybody.
Thank you. So thank you everybody for joining. So we've now concluded our formal part of the meeting. What we want to do is now open it up. So there's rangoli on both sides of the tables. Feel free to go around, try it. There'll be some people that help you form this Indian art. There's food outside. Feel free to, for the last half hour, go back and forth between food and try rangoli. There's some posters out there. But thank you all for coming.